Emojis, the language of technology, an art form of subtle expression, a way of communication famous enough to get a movie made out of it. It's clear what an emoji is, but their story, on the other hand, not so much. This is Slightly Tan Santa holding a water pistol. Ever since the beginning of human civilization, we have communicated with each other using pictures. And that communication got stronger when humans developed languages. All the way back in the 17th century, a Slovak notary used an emoji-like symbol to show his satisfaction with his town's financial records. Then, the invention of the printing press helped bring the emoji to life. It is said that the New York Times used a semicolon and a right-facing apostrophe in a speech transcript, as well as a variety of emoji faces that was published in a 1881 issue of Puck magazine. And the popularity of the recently named emoticons has grown most during the invention of the computer. You see, a code written by Scott Foreman in 1882 called the American Standard Code for Information Interchange, or ASCII for short. He wrote this code so people at Carnegie Mellon could tell the difference between joke posts and serious posts, with a smile and a frown. In Japan, at around the same time, they were developing similar emoticons, except they had a different approach. Instead of making a symbol sideways, they made theirs upright. They called these Kowmoji, which means face character. Now let's fast forward to the late 1990s, where the internet was a pretty common thing. People used emoticons commonly in text messages, forums, and emails. They were so commonplace, in fact, that they were replaced by true visuals created by artist Shigetaki Kurita. These were used by iMode, which was a Japanese internet platform. There were 176 characters in the original line of emojis, which were the first to adopt the name emojis. They were also an instant success in Japan. Other companies like AU and SoftBank made their own line of emojis. The problem with that is that the emojis would not work if they were sent to a device with a different set of emojis. We'll get to that later. But for now, we will move on to our next subject, Apple. In the early 2000s, the popularity of emojis inspired companies outside of Japan, like Apple, to add their own line of emojis. The original Apple emojis included 70 symbols, 32 yellow faces, 14 people faces, 3 religious figures, 7 half-body people, 8 full-body people, 2 undead people, 2 aliens, and 1 poop. All of which were designed by Angela Guzman. Throughout the later years, they added animal, nature, food, drink, activity, and travel-related emojis, as well as objects, flags, and other symbols. But they still did not include enough. Which brings us to our next chapter, which inspired the title of this documentary, Inclusivity. In an update in 2016, Apple added new emojis, and they allowed you to change the emoji's race, as well as updating the overall look of some emojis. Some of the added emojis were same-sex families, showing more jobs done by women, and of course, the pride flag. Also, look at these amazing redesigns. Wait, is that a squirt gun? Yeah, so basically, Apple decided to change the revolver gun into a squirt gun, which is believed to be because of the threats which used the emoji. But the emojis on all the other devices kept the revolver, so it was a strange choice for Apple to make. Speaking of emojis on other devices, that brings us to our next chapter, emoji compatibility. Since all devices have different designs for their emojis, when someone sends an emoji to a different device, the message could potentially convey a different meaning. To fix this problem, representatives at Google created the very first Emojicon in 2016. There, all of the other emoji-carrying companies decided what the official design for all the emojis across platforms would be. If they wanted to redesign an emoji, they all had to decide on the new design. And the same goes if they wanted to make a new one. And that's the story of emoji. Sure, there are some things I'm leaving out, like Emoji and Animoji, but those aren't very important in the grand scheme of things. All that is important is the stuff we already know. Emoji is a language, an art form. We didn't need a documentary to know that. But we did not need documentaries in the first place. So that leaves me with one thing left to say. I'm Connor Kelly, and this has been Slightly Tan Santa with a Water Pistol.